Hey, Missouri, it's time to vote. On November 5th, 2024, everyone in Missouri will have a chance to vote on 5 constitutional amendments and 1 proposition. Now, the first video I did was over the first 3 constitutional amendments and the proposition because those were introduced through an initiative process where a group of Missourians wrote a proposed amendment or a proposed law, which is a proposition, and got enough signatures on a petition to get it on the ballot, and then the people of Missouri will vote on it. The 2 that I'm going to talk about on this video were introduced by the General Assembly, and they have to be approved by the people of Missouri because absolutely no changes are made to the Missouri Constitution without a vote of the people. Now, before we get started telling you about these amendments, the first thing that I need to remind you, and I know you know this, but I'm going to remind you, the Missouri Constitution has a Bill of Rights. The difference between the Missouri Constitution Bill of Rights and the U.S. Bill of Rights, well, there's a lot of differences. The Missouri Bill of Rights is at the top of the Missouri Constitution in Article 1, where the U.S. Bill of Rights is at the end of the Constitution, because in the U.S. Bill of Rights, they were added on after the Constitution was already ratified, where the Missouri Bill of Rights was included in the original Constitution. Now, in the Missouri Bill of Rights, you can take things out and put things in, but in the U.S. Bill of Rights, or in the U.S. amendments, all of the U.S. amendments, once they're there, they are always there. They never go away. For example, Amendment 18 says that there is no booze in America. It's all illegal. No booze. It's a prohibition amendment. Obviously, there's booze in Missouri. There's booze in America. But the 21st Amendment made the 18th Amendment obsolete. It repealed the 18th Amendment. So we have an 18th Amendment, which says no booze, and we have a 21st Amendment that gave it back. So once an amendment is in the U.S. Constitution, it's there forever. But in the Missouri Constitution, if you amend the Missouri Constitution, you can completely delete things out of it. When I teach the Missouri Constitution, I just teach it like this is the Missouri Constitution. I don't say, well, this part here was changed in November, and this part here was changed in August. As far as my kids are concerned, the entire Missouri Constitution is as it ever was. But it changes all the time. The amendments will dictate what Missouri does until another amendment is made that totally erases it. That's why when you get to the polling place November 5th, the first amendment you're going to be voting for that came out of the General Assembly will be Amendment 6. And it'll read, "Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to preserve funding of law enforcement personnel for the administration of justice? State and local governmental entities estimate an unknown fiscal impact." This is in addition to the Missouri Bill of Rights in Article 1, Section 14, which originally is pretty simple. It makes sure that you could not be denied a trial if you deserve one, and no one could pay the court to rule in their favor. It's still going to say that after this election, but if Missourians approve this amendment, there will be a little extra. Since the 1990s, people in Missouri who were convicted or pled guilty to an offense were charged a $3 fee on top of their fine and court costs. That $3 went into a retirement fund for sheriffs, prosecuting attorneys, and circuit court attorneys. The fee was eliminated in 2021 with the Missouri Supreme Court case Fowler v. Missouri. In this case, the defendants said that the $3 court fee that went to the retirement system was unconstitutional. They claimed they didn't know they were paying the fee and argued it violated the separation of powers between the executive branch and the judicial branch. This amendment will make that fee constitutional because it'll be in the Constitution. There will not actually be a dollar amount stated in the Constitution. It'll just say that a fee will be collected to provide money for current and former sheriffs, prosecuting attorneys, and circuit court attorneys. That amount would be determined by the General Assembly. That way, if the amount needs to go up or down, the General Assembly can make that happen without another constitutional amendment. This is kind of a big deal because in 2022, the retirement system had 149 retirees. One was a disabled person and 53 surviving beneficiaries that were getting money from that retirement fund. And today, there are 114 active sheriffs and 20 that are vested. So if this does not pass, then that retirement fund is predicted to run out of money in about 9 years. The fair ballot language will read, a yes vote will amend the Missouri Constitution to levy costs and fees to support salaries and benefits for current and former sheriffs, prosecuting attorneys, and circuit attorneys to ensure all Missourians have access to the courts of justice. A no vote will not amend the Missouri Constitution to levy costs and fees related to current or former sheriffs, prosecuting attorneys, and circuit attorneys. If passed, this measure will have no impact on taxes. Amendment 7 will say, shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to make the Constitution consistent with state law by only allowing citizens of the United States to vote, prohibit the ranking of candidates by limiting voters to a single vote per candidate or issue, and require the plurality winner of a political party primary to be the single candidate at a general election. State and local governmental entities estimate no cost or savings. This amendment packs a big punch with a few words. First of all, it'll change the wording of the Missouri Constitution saying all citizens of the United States can vote to only citizens of the United States can vote. Of course, only citizens can vote in national elections according to the U.S. Constitution. But there are local governments that allow people who are not citizens to vote in local governmental elections. This amendment would eliminate that practice. It would also eliminate the possibility of ranked choice voting. Right now, ranked choice voting is growing in popularity, and a lot of states and local governments are adopting it for primary elections or elections where there are more than 2 candidates. Here's how it works. Instead of choosing one candidate out of, let's say, 4, voters rank the 4 candidates, saying which would be their first choice, second choice, third choice, and fourth choice. If 50% plus 1 of the voters score a candidate as their first choice, it's a done deal. He wins, or she wins. But if no one gets the majority, then it gets a bit complicated. The one who has the least number of votes is eliminated. For everyone who gave that guy a 1, now their 2 is a 1. That just keeps happening until someone gets 50% plus 1 of the number 1 votes. Are you confused but curious? Go to YouTube. Search it. There's tons of videos on ranked choice voting. Typically, ranked choice voting would only be used in primary elections, and the political parties get to decide how that works. This amendment will assure that ranked choice voting doesn't happen in Missouri at any time. Most of Missouri's primary elections allow the winner to be the one who gets the most votes, or the plurality. This won't affect nonpartisan municipal elections, probably because St. Louis does something with non-partisan municipal elections that doesn't allow for a plurality, but it isn't ranked choice voting. And I'm not going to pretend to know what they do in St. Louis because that's all the way on the other side of the state. But don't worry, St. Louis. this won't mess with your nonpartisan municipal elections. It is important to clarify, and I want to be very clear about this. Primary elections pick out political party candidates who are going to run in the general election. There are no ranked choice voting in general elections, only primary elections. If the majority of Missouri voters approve this amendment, there will be no ranked choice voting, period. The fair ballot language will read, a yes vote will amend the Missouri Constitution to specify that only United States citizens are entitled to vote. Voters shall only have a single vote for each candidate or issue, restrict any type of ranking of candidates for a particular office, and require the person receiving the greatest number of votes at the primary election as a party candidate for an office shall be the only candidate for that party at the general election, and require the person receiving the greatest number of votes for each office at the general election shall be declared the winner. This provision does not apply to any nonpartisan municipal election held in a city that had an ordinance in effect as of November 5th, 2024, that requires a preliminary election at which more than one candidate advances to a subsequent election. A no vote will not amend the Missouri Constitution to make any changes to how voters vote in primary and general elections. If passed, this measure will have no impact on taxes. Well, that's it. That's a lot. That's enough. Hopefully, it's obvious that this is a very pivotal election on many different levels. Please share this video with other Missouri voters so they can be informed when they get to the polls. Please be an informed voter.